These are the memories, 35 years later, of the takeover of the Statue of Liberty for the freedom of Puerto Rico and of our political prisoners. At that time, we had been mobilizing for 3-4 years to Washington, D.C., and the annual mobilization was getting stagnant. There was a New York City Committee to Free the Nationalist Prisoners in which Mickey Melendez, Richie Perez, and I coordinated that work. There was a committee in Chicago. There was a committee in Puerto Rico. Besides that, there was the work being done internationally with el pueblo cubano, the gobierno cubano. And beyond that, there was also the clandestine operations de la Fuerza Armada de Liberación Nacional. All of this was taking place at a time when President Jimmy Carter, United States President Jimmy Carter, began an international campaign about human rights. And things began coming together. We were mobilizing to Washington, D.C. el 1 de noviembre, that weekend. And we have been talking about the component that we felt was missing was a militant mass action. And Mickey Melendez is the one that said, well, what about the Statue of Liberty? We said, great. So we started doing our reconnaissance work. First I went, then Mickey went, then Richie went, and observing the security, observing the routine, the travel, all of that, and comparing notes. Then we went about the task of identifying 30 some odd people who we could trust, who would have the commitment to take an arrest for the freedom of the 5 nationalists, and who will have the trust in us to do something that we asked them to do without having to explain to them what was going to be done. And we checked and cross-checked the list. We identified who would be talking to who, and we picked the date. We organized 3 teams to meet in different parts of the city, and then we would lead them without telling them where they were going. Everybody to Battery Park. We did that when we got to Battery Park. The people that I organized were reassigned to Mickey and Richie because it had been decided that I would be the person that would not get arrested for the simple fact that I was already out of bail. I had been accused of being a member of the Fuerzas Armadas de Liberación Nacional, and I was out on bail, and despite the arguments, it was decided that I would be the spokesperson for the group. We had also done reconnaissance on the island. At that time, there was no cell phones, there was no faxes, there was no computers. So we had gotten the public phone numbers of the public phones on the island and the public phones in Battery Park. We arrived in Battery Park. We were the first on the first boat, and when the people landed on the island, they ran to get into the Statue of Liberty before anyone else, so that there would be no problem about people saying they were being held hostage or anything like that. And that was carried out successfully. The guards in the Statue of Liberty were escorted out, and the doors were padlocked, and people began ascending to the top of the Statue of Liberty to hang the flag out the window. It's the flag that you see in the forehead, hanging from the forehead of the Statue of Liberty. The window was broken, and throughout the window, the flag was hung. Knowing the media reluctance to cover the issue of Puerto Rico, cover the issue of political prisoners, were concerned about, what it would take for the media to actually cover this event. And in that regard, the New York City police, the FBI, were very helpful because they began fighting amongst themselves about who had jurisdiction for the takeover of the Statue of Liberty. The United States Parks Police, the FBI, NYPD, the terrorist task forces, everybody in their mother came. And then the political wacko showed up on the Battery Park side, Barry Farber, claiming that we were holding hostages, claiming that this was an armed standoff by the FALN, the Black Liberation Army, and the Weather Underground. And all this time, the different police agencies are arguing amongst themselves. So what we thought was going to be about an hour takeover stretched into over 8 hours. And at one point we were going to do a food drop because they shut the water off. There was no water, no cigarettes, no food. We didn't know how long this thing was going to last. But that was called off when the police put a 10,000-foot ban on flights around the Statue of Liberty, and then they brought a Coast Guard cutter with 50-millimeter cannons to shoot anybody who tried to get by. Anyway, the end result was that the picture of the Puerto Rican flag and the issue of Puerto Rico being a slave nation, a colony, and the issue of the 5 nationalist prisoners being the longest held prisoners at that point in the world, political prisoners, became an international issue. The picture was in the front page of every newspaper around the world. We got pictures, newspaper clippings from Soviet Union, from the Netherlands, from London, from Paris, from Holland, everywhere around the world. The picture and the explanation as to why this action had been taken on. Months later, President Jimmy Carter ordered the release of the nationalist prisoners, Lolita Lebron, Rafael Cancel Miranda, Irving Flores, Andrés Collazo, and Oscar Collazo and Andrés Figueroa Cordero were released from the United States federal prisons, having been there since 1950 to 1954. It was one of the victories of our people.